Hello, I'm Mariana. If you're new here, if you're not, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we are getting into the new version of a half cut crease. So Gen Z and TikTok has inspired this look. I absolutely love it. It's very interesting, very uplifting, and very dramatic, I would say. Okay, before we start, I just want to remind you that um, you can use any color palette you like. You don't have to do green, but I am going to show you what I gravitated toward green for some reason. This is the palette that I'm using, is the Ace Beauté Floral Vintage palette. So I'm literally using the dark green shade and the light green shade, and then one more kind of nude skin colored shade. So you only need about 2 shades to do this look. It's super easy to do and it looks very detailed. So I highly recommend if you're looking for something that's easy but also intricate looking. So getting into the actual how-to, the first thing that I'm doing is taking a really short, flat, dense shader brush, and I am packing on the dark green on the outer corner only. So this is like the outer third of my eye, and I'm creating basically like a wing. So I'm packing it on, making sure it's nice, consistent, and dark. Then I'm going over the edges, just the edges of this green, to buff it out to make it easier to blend in the transition shade, which is the lighter green. So I'm just making sure that the darkest part is like the part that is closer to my lash line, as well as like winged out a little bit, and then the edges are a little bit buffed out so we can make it easier to blend. Then I'm going in on the inner corner of my eye. So this cut crease is a very interesting kind of geometrical cut crease that kind of plays off of your bone structure, off of the features of your eyes. So I'm literally using the same shade, and I'm also just keeping this part above my crease and only basically toward the inner corner of the eye. So as I kind of gradually get to the outer corner, I'm dissipating, I'm blending out, and I'm kind of just stopping at the 2/3 mark. So I'm doing the same thing on this side just to show you once again. I'm packing on the darkest shade, that dark green on the outer corner, winging it out, and then kind of buffing out only the edges just to make sure that I can blend in that lighter green seamlessly. Then we're going in with the inner corner, starting kind of like toward the inner corner of my eye, but above my crease line. And this is just going to create a really nice contrast when I do go in to cut my crease. So this is the 2 darkest parts of the eyes. Usually for a regular cut crease, you are kind of lining the entire crease with the darkest shade to add that contrast when you do go in with a concealer to cut the crease, to make the crease stand out. But we are stopping toward the 2/3 of the eye. So I'm literally doing the same thing I did to the outer corner. I'm adding the darkest shade toward the inner corner of the eye and just buffing out the edges to make it easier to blend in the second shade. This is what it should look like right now, and we're gonna go in and add that lighter green. So I'm taking the same brush, I did clean it off just a little bit, and I'm literally just packing that lighter green onto the buffed out area that we kind of diffused the darker green into. So I'm just packing it on and then kind of buffing out the edge of that as well, just making sure that they blend nice and seamlessly, and that it's a beautiful gradient going from that dark green to the light green. I also want to mention that when you are doing like detailed looks like this, it is easier to use a smaller brush just to make it easier for yourself to kind of get into those little spaces and add those details. So like I said, we are using only 2 shades, but the gradient is a very important aspect of this look. I feel like it just adds that much more interest and detail to this look. So I am kind of only using about like 1 or 2 brushes. No, I used about like 3 brushes in this look, but I'll tell you exactly what they're all for. I like to use this flat brush to pack on the shade and get a nice consistency in a large kind of area, because it's just easier to pack on a shade with this short, dense brush. Speaking of brush number 2, I used a fluffier, more of a blending brush situation to buff out the top edge of the inner corner, just to kind of blend out that transition shade a little bit more to make it seamless, because we aren't putting anything over that shade. So I just want to make sure that it looks nice and quote unquote natural. So now we're moving in to cutting the crease. So this part is pretty important. Like I said, this is a half cut crease, so we are going to take the cut crease the concealer 2/3 of the way, and we did lay down the outer corner already, which is normal when you are doing a half cut crease. So you are going to want to start at the inner corner of your eye and create the cut crease line above your natural crease. This way you can see it when your eyes are open. And when we are kind of filling in the lid, we're going to kind of just follow the line, the diagonal line that the eyeshadow that we laid down already is making. So it's totally fine if the concealer touches the eyeshadow that we've put on the outer corner. We are going to go back in and put down some more to make it look nice and blended, and that everything is like flowing together really nicely. But here I am doing it again. I like to make sure that literally like the line of the crease kind of drags out a little bit further than where the concealer stops, closer to the lash line. So it's kind of like a diagonal cut crease, if you can see it right there. So this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like so far. Then I go in with my buffing brush. This is from Real Techniques. I like to use this brush when I am creating a cut crease or putting concealer down on my eyes to make sure that the concealer is kind of blended out and that it is just creating a nice canvas for the rest of the eyeshadow. So if you don't blend out the concealer and you do go in with eyeshadow, then your eyeshadow might come out a little bit patchy and darker in some areas and lighter in others, and some places might not stick down. So I definitely recommend blending out your concealer or just kind of patting over it to make it a nice smooth canvas to put on your eyeshadow. So the last thing that I'm doing is going in with a kind of bone shade, a white, off-white, eggshell, whatever you want to call it, shade on the lid. So I'm literally just setting the concealer with this shade. Like I said, you can use any shade that you like, but I don't want to distract from the already colorful colors that I put down on the eyes, so I'm just using a nude natural shade, and I'm also making sure that it is lighter than my skin tone so that it just makes the colors pop a little bit more. And lastly, again, we are going in with the transition shade, the lighter green shade, and I'm only just putting it right on top of the light green shade again, and I'm just extending it a little bit higher than the light green shade that we put on before, just to make sure that you can see it. And as you can see, it creates a beautiful gradient. So this part is very optional. I felt like it went really beautifully with the look, especially if you do want to glam this up just a little bit more, add a little bit more drama and detail, but you definitely don't have to do it. This is what it looks like with and without, but I just took some pressed glitter from a different palette, and I used an angled brush, and I'm just kind of tracing out the inner corner, the inner 2/3 of the cut crease line, just to add a little bit of sparkle to this look. So like I said, this is optional, and I also want to stress one more time that you can use any color combination that you like. So this is what it looks like. I rarely do use glitter actually, but I feel like this is like a really beautiful, like nice detail. So I am finally finished with the eyeshadow look. We are just gonna go ahead and clean up the outer corners. So this part, if you have watched my videos before, you know this is like my favorite part, as well as like the part that I will never skip. This is just going to clean up the outer corner, clean up all of the eyeshadow, make sure that both of the eyes look symmetrical, and just uplift your eyes as well. So this is the finished look. I feel like the look as a half cut crease, but also like an elongating cat eye, interesting detailed eye makeup look is already uplifting to your eyes, and is also kind of creating a new shape because of the cut crease nature. So you definitely want to go ahead and clean up the outer edges. So this is the final look. Let me know what you guys think. I absolutely love doing this half cut crease technique, and I'm here for it. Let me know what you guys think about the green. Let me know what you guys think about the glitter. All products will be listed down below in the description box. If you haven't subscribed already, please don't forget to do so. And don't forget to like this video as well. It really does help me out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!